Hi everyone, welcome to the intuitive card reading for August 26th through September 1st. Okay, so a couple of things. You might see in the corner right here, can you guys see it? Here we go. This is just my coconut water and my tart cherry juice that I need for my electrolytes. So please, please excuse me if I need to take a sip throughout the reading. The other thing I want to say is I already did this reading. I had technical difficulties and it wasn't recording, and it's such a bummer. I might pause halfway through to make sure this is recording. So I already know what the reading is and the energies. And let me just say, this is the first time I can say before we actually do the readings, before I do the reading, is that we're having a wonderful, wonderful week. So spoiler alert, it's going to be a great week. So, all right. Other than that, I'm using 3 decks here. They're all shuffled. But like I said, I did already kind of go through the reading and then realized it wasn't able to record. It's a whole story. So anyway, you guys know the drill. Please like this video. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies of the week. Please subscribe to this channel. Comments down below. All I ask is that you be kind. And I think that's it. I'm paranoid, so I'm making sure it's recording. Yes, it is. All right, let's begin, guys. All right, what do we need? Okay, we have liberator, and we have in the shadow, imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. Okay, so liberation is being free. And basically under the need, pretty straightforward, it's saying, okay, we need to be free. We need to feel, because when it's in the shadow, basically it's saying we don't feel free, right? And so we're restricting ourselves in some type of way. And this isn't actually towards this is towards something that you can control, and that's what the spirit is asking us to do, is basically saying what you can control, liberate yourself from. Okay, and so it's talking about, look at your perceived limitations, not your limitations. Like, for example, my brain is not working correctly. I can't snap my fingers and pretend that it will. It doesn't work that way. Okay, and I can't freely travel like I've wanted to, that kind of thing. I can't do the things that I normally can do when my brain is normal. I can't do that now, right? But that's not what Spirit is talking about. It's saying focus on what you can do, okay? Because there are perceived limitations that you have on yourself. Not actual limitations, perceived limitations. So focus on that. And this could also mean other people too. So watch our controlling habits, not just with themselves, but also with other people, and look at our perceived limitations on other people as well. Make sure we're not telling people that they can't do this, a little bit projecting, right? Or they can't do that. We want people to feel free, and we want ourselves to feel free, and we really need it, okay? Because it's under need. All right, what else do we need? What could we take action on? Mending. Okay, this one is pretty straightforward as well. So this is basically saying that we're mending relationships of some kind, mending, and I'll tell you this, it doesn't feel like it's like huge, right? And so it doesn't mean like there's like a big rift and all of a sudden you're gonna start talking, say it's like with your mom or something, you're gonna start talking to your mom again out of nowhere or something like that. It kind of feels like it's something that's been kind of building up. It might have something to do here with the liberator, with, like I said, just be careful about your, maybe controlling or projecting on other people and people doing it to you. So really be mindful of that kind of thing. But it just feels like if you've been kind of drifting away from somebody, it really does feel like maybe this week is a week that you guys feel tighter, you feel more of a bond or something along those lines. But there's mending of something, compromise, apologies, taking accountability, something is kind of going there. But like I said, it doesn't feel major, so it doesn't feel like there's like, again, your friend of 25 years or something that you haven't talked to in 25 years all of a sudden comes into your life. Maybe for some of you guys in the collective, this is the collective reading, so this means that it could be for a majority of you guys, a lot of different people. I'm sorry, it could be for the minority of you guys, because it is a lot of people. So but again, to me, it doesn't feel like it's like a huge thing. Okay, issue, arrow, surround yourself with protective energy. Okay, so we're having issues protecting our energy. This one is, again, really straightforward. So just do what you can. Boundaries, make sure we're not having any energy vampires in our space for too long, including narcissists, including people that complain a lot, anybody that really kind of drains your energy. But it's also your responsibility to take out some much needed time, and just making sure that you're protecting yourself in any way, shape, or form from not just negative energies, but just like overstimulation in general, whatever that looks like for you guys. All right, what's challenging? Let's take a look. Okay, Midas Miser. This one we had last week in the need, I believe. And so basically to remind you guys, and it was so important that I put it in the title of the video, entrepreneurial creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. Okay, so it's under challenge now. So this tells me that maybe it really spark something in you where you say, yeah, you know what, I need to take control of my money situation. I really need to kind of get out there. I really need to bring in more money, but my current situation is just not doing it. I'm not getting that promotion. I'm not moving up. I'm not, it's not, I'm not getting enough hours, like whatever your situation is. So basically this is saying that we need to kind of reach beyond that, but we're having issues with that. So I wouldn't worry too much. It appearing again tells me that it's still top of mind for you. It's still priority. It is still something that you're actually working towards, but you're just coming through with some challenges. But this tells me, I'm getting a feeling we're going to be able to work through those challenges. So maybe it's the fact that you don't even know what you can do. Maybe it's like a lack of clarity, or there's some kind of obstacle in your way to get to making more money on the side, or by doing your own thing or whatever. But you will get past that, and I feel like you guys really need to hear that. So don't worry too much about that one. Okay, unfinished symphony. What is actually changing is that unfinished symphony is always about unfinished business, unfinished things. So things from the past could come up, then you can finally finish them. Okay, so it's not just about leaving them unfinished. It's about actually finishing them. That's the change. So anything that's kind of left on standby, essentially, it looks like we're going to be getting some of that stuff done this week, which is great. It always feels great when you kind of close a chapter. We've been getting a lot of cards in the past. I believe we had a come to the edge card last time, which is basically like you're ready to jump off the cliff. You're ready to move on to your next thing. But we all know the universe works in the way of once a door is closed, then another one can open. And that's like the beauty of endings and beginnings. So basically it's saying you can't necessarily get to your beginning unless you have an ending and once you finish things up. So finish things up. Again, this is for the collective, so it could look differently for everybody, but that thing that comes to mind first, or however it resonates, it's usually that thing. So, all right, hopefully that makes sense. Focus, enjoy growth, and reap rewards. Okay, so this is really about focusing on how far that you've grown, but also treating yourself and reaping the rewards of that. So I don't want it to sound like, so you're worthy no matter what. And so basically you don't have to like work. You deserve rest, and you deserve anything that you truly desire just by your being, right? But this is basically saying we've gone so beyond that, right? We've gone so beyond working extremely hard, worrying so much, that we're not necessarily treating ourselves well, and we're not necessarily rewarding ourselves or being kind to ourselves and things like that. And so focus on that this week. Like that should be the spirit is saying, like that should be your main focus, like being kind to yourself, okay? And giving yourself what you need. I'm not saying go out and drain your bank account, but maybe buy yourself flowers or something this week, whatever resonates with you. But be kind, not just to others, but to yourself. And that's really it's really saying that. Okay, the shadow of the prince, using power for self-aggrandizement. I think I'm saying that right. Okay, so this might be, so the reflector usually sometimes comes like a journal prompt. This is saying, look at where you might be, how do I say this? This is my second time reading it and I'm still having trouble saying it. Basically what I want to say is so I think a lot of you guys see that other card, a leg up card, which is basically advantageous energy, and that's usually for like more positive, more like on a positive spin. It's a little bit more on a negative spin because it came in the shadow, and basically it's saying like you're using your charm to get what you want, and you're using your power, not necessarily. And I think we've had not with the prince, but with similar type energy we've gotten in the past. Make sure we're just not using our power for like a negative thing or to get ahead or any kind of manipulation or thinking that we're better than other people or something along that line. And this is reflect, so that could fall into the category of like shadow work basically. So looks like we're doing a little bit of touch of shadow work this week. It hasn't really come up a lot, but this is asking us to kind of look at ourselves and how we're doing that and just reflect on that. So not super heavy on it, but again, it's a good reflection. Okay, responsibility is round and round. Okay, so round and round is really about repetitive action. So basically this is saying don't, I remember when I was first pulling this, it came out so clearly. Spirit is like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't go overthinking something. Don't try to make something that works perfectly fine into something that it's not. Right? And so basically, again, that don't reinvent the wheel. It's kind of saying like, whatever works, keep doing that. You don't necessarily have to change it so much, even if you feel like you quote unquote should. And the example that I gave, and I'll give again because now it's recording, is that I think I said this before, I can only eat a certain amount of foods, like 30 or 40 different foods. It gets very boring with food. Thank God I'm not a foodie, and I don't get sick of things much. But sometimes I do get a little antsy and really want to switch up the menu, right? And so I have all my meals pretty much mapped out, and all my recipes and all that stuff, and it works for me, right? It makes me feel good every single day. Nothing triggers my histamine issues. Like everything is like perfect and good. But I don't know if it's my ego or what, but sometimes I'm like, oh God, I just kind of want to mix things up. No, it's more of my desire for newness, my desire for change. I'm a Gemini, okay guys? So as you can imagine, I really enjoy change. But sometimes it's basically saying like, sometimes it's not necessarily applicable. Sometimes it's not necessary. That's what this is saying here. It's like it's your responsibility it's in your best interest to continue to do what's working for you and not necessarily change things up. It's not like you save the change for finishing things up, not necessarily reinventing the wheel. Okay, that's really what it's saying. So your responsibilities are to continue to do what's working. Okay, so take that as it will. I obviously use my chronic illness as an example for me because that's all I have going on. Can you tell the Gemini in me just wants this over with? I just want something else to talk about. It would be nice. All right, money, finances, and career. This is amazing. When I saw this, I was so happy. Sun just means not necessarily don't worry about it, but there is joy and better things on the horizon. The sun will come out, after the rain, the sun will come out. So basically it's saying if you've been having a hard time with money, finances, and career, this week is going to be looking up. Basically it's saying. So happy stuff there. So that's really great. And that's why it makes sense with these two because like I said, I felt like this feeling of like, don't worry so much about this up here. Okay, don't worry about that challenge so much. Because the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar. Tomorrow. Is that the words? I'm so sorry you guys had to hear that. Okay, this was, I don't know if I'm going to give my example again because I think it was horrible, but maybe I will. We have a hedonist in the shadow, pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulgence at the expense of others. So it's under surprise. So basically we're going to surprise ourselves by how much we overindulge and pursue pleasure. We've gotten this before, we've gotten the shadow before. And sometimes it is linked to addictions, guys, so be very careful there. But the example that I gave that, here I am, I'm repeating it again, is say you decide to like go out one night, you never go out, and then all of a sudden you're drinking way too much, you bought all the shots for the bar, you bought a bottle in the private room, I forget what they're even called, it's been so long for me, and then the next day you hate yourself for all your, quote unquote, the bad decisions that you made last night, right? You went too much into the pleasure zone, okay? And sometimes that could be because we don't want to deal with real life, because we're really overwhelmed. Watch that energy, right? Whatever the actual intention behind why we did it. Again, don't beat yourself up because it's definitely coming under surprise. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh God, that example would never be me. I would never go to a club. It's almost like Spirit is like, don't underestimate what's going to happen this week because you might do something really out of character that goes into this category. Maybe it's not a club. I can't think of anything off the top of my head as an example. You don't want to hear it because I feel like they're terrible, but you might be doing something out of the box that is really pleasure seeking could be addictive, could be too much indulgence. Even if it comes down to you're a really strict eater and then all of a sudden you find Friday night you ate an entire box of cheesecake. Okay, that would categorize that as in your hedonist archetype. You just went for the pleasure and you just, didn't stop. Okay, so just be careful there, okay, because it does have hints of addiction here, so just be careful. May God be with you, and it definitely comes out of nowhere. It's under the surprise, so take that as it will. So again, guys, put down below what you think it actually might be, or again, you can come back to this video and let me know what it is. That would be great. Okay, we have friends, message in a bottle. Makes sense to me. This is communication, and basically we're mending maybe not just friendships, maybe relationships of any kind. But under the friends, it says there's a lot of good, positive communication, so that makes sense to me. Not too much more to say here. Romantic connection, we have Hunter, track down your fears and desires. Okay, it's a good time in your relationship, in your romantic connections, to be more vulnerable and talk about what your fears are, talk about what your desires are, and really kind of go to a deeper level. It will bring you guys closer, and it's in your favor, is basically what Spirit is saying. So we have really good relationship stuff going on this week, especially with that mending. Okay, what else do we have? We have important, we have Samaritan, in the shadow, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. Okay, so basically this is just saying it's important to do things because you want to do them. Not because you feel like you have to, not because you feel obligated, not because you feel guilty. This is really about doing things from the goodness of your heart because you want to be doing them. Because I will say, if we are just forcing things and just doing things to just do things, it's not going to be a positive outcome. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but it might backfire or make you feel not so great. Maybe, let's go back to my my club example. Maybe you actually went out to the club because you had a friend in town that was kind of, saying, oh my God, I don't know anybody here. I strictly came out to the place where you live, the city that you live, because, I want to party, I want to do these things, and you don't usually do that, and they want to do that, so you feel like you have to do it to show them a good time. And then you end up in your hedonist, right? So that's an example building on that, okay? So it's really, really important that you're doing things because you want to be doing them and not necessarily because you feel guilty or obligated. So that's going to be, it's under important, so it's going to come through in some way, shape, or form. Health and wellness. I almost dropped to the floor, guys, when I saw this one, a change in the wind. I like any kind of change. And it feels positive. I like any kind of positive change. Let me reframe that. Things are going to change. Things are going to feel like they're finally moving the needle. Boy, oh boy, do I love to hear that. Okay, and so however that looks for your mental, spiritual, or physical journey, it's a noticeable change. Okay, so that's really great. And then overall outcome, hermit, retreat, and recharge. So sometimes you guys hear me talk about weeks or months, whether I'm doing the weekly or the monthly, about, like sometimes it's like more of like a hermit, like you're more keeping to yourself. It's more introspective. It's more reflective. It feels like you're not necessarily super social. I don't get any of that from this reading. I don't get energy from that reading. This basically says what I'm really focusing on and what's coming through for this is the recharge. Don't forget this protective energy here, okay? It's saying make sure you have enough energy to do these different things, because there's not necessarily a pattern here, but it's basically saying like, make sure you save your energy for the right things. And I think that's also why the round and round comes through here, because it's like, you don't need to spend your energy creating a full new menu, like the example that I gave. Like, you don't need to be doing that. That's not necessary. Use your energy to focus on the things that you need to be focusing on, which is all the other stuff that I read in the reading. So that's really what it's about. It's not necessarily the retreat part. It's more the recharge part. So it's definitely recharging your battery this week. And as you can see, again, that example with the club, again, it's not exactly what's probably going to happen to you guys, but it's a pretty good example. That's not a good way to recharge because after that, you'll probably, you know, if that's not usually what you do, you know, shout out to people that do this 6 days a week or whatever. No shame in that game, but you know, this is kind of something out of the ordinary. You know, I'm talking about the example as something out of the ordinary for you. It might take a ton of energy to really recharge from that. And so that's what Spirit is saying. It's saying be careful with your energy, use it wisely. This week, because you're gonna need it in certain places, and you just don't want to be draining it, essentially. So, and that's pretty much it, guys. This is, like I said, isn't this a great week? I really don't see anything, you know, the reflection just, you know, on some maybe like, you know, not so great qualities of ours that maybe we've been exuding lately. Nothing crazy. And again, the energy thing is not a negative thing. It's just, you know, giving us some tips, you know, and letting us know how to work with the energy of the week, which is basically talking about protecting that energy, that very energy. So, okay. I love it, guys. Have a wonderful week. And what else do I have to say? Oh yeah, the monthly is going to come out soon. I was a little late on the monthly last time. I'm so sorry. I will do my best, which I always try to do my best, to get it out on time. And so look out for that. So have a wonderful week, guys, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.